What if you lost everything? What if you lost your job? What if you lost your home? What if you had no place, no four walls, no roof over your head, no area inside to call your own? And what if at that time in your life, you were presented with an option, and that option was staying with your pet, your cat, your dog, or giving that pet up so that you could find housing, so that you could find a job? What would you do? How would you move forward? This is something that we're going to be exploring on today's episode as we talk with our amazing guest, who I'll introduce in just a moment. And for those of you who don't know, this is, of course, the Street Dog Podcast, brought to you by the Street Dog Coalition. We are a national nonprofit providing free veterinary care and related services to pets of people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. I'm your host, Daria Tavana, and I'm also the Director of Development at the Street Dog Coalition. And today I'm really excited because Matt Baldwin is going to be joining us. Matt's an advocate for the unhoused community and has more than a decade of experience serving unhoused individuals in Topeka. As a homeless case manager, Matt worked on the ground directly helping vulnerable people, and helping them get access to resource and support programs. So this is something that Matt does better than anyone we know at the Street Dog Coalition. He has also helped found the Topeka chapter of the Street Dog Coalition, whose focus is, of course, on helping pets and people get the care that they deserve, regardless of their financial situation. Matt serves as Director of Outreach Resources for the Breakthrough House in Topeka. And we are so excited to welcome Matt to the podcast today. So, welcome, Matt. It is so great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Did I miss anything in that introduction?
Wow, that was a pretty good introduction.
Okay. Okay, that's awesome. Matt, I'm really excited to chat with you today. I know usually I see you on meetings with Dr. Crow, and Dr. Crow is so amazing. I love seeing you at the socials. Your team is so active and so instrumental in like bringing our mission to help pets and people receive the care they deserve to life. So I feel like I actually usually do this before we hit record, and I didn't do that this much today. But I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of everyone at the Street Dog Coalition for the incredible work that you do in Topeka. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your ability to problem solve inspires us. It inspires me, Katrina, Hillary. It inspires our other team leads. And we are so, so, so grateful to have someone like you in our corner as a member of our family, helping our clients. It's just a great reminder of why I do what I do. So big thanks to you for being amazing.
Well, I appreciate you guys providing the platform to allow us to put in that hard work.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you strike me as someone that is very inspired and very motivated to do what you do. And I think that's where we can kind of kick off this conversation is what inspired you to become an advocate for the homeless community, and how did your journey lead you to work specifically with individuals who are unhoused who also have pets?
Ironically, I had zero intention of ever working with the homeless starting out. Um, I actually I started my career working with at risk youth, and I wanted to work with children. And I worked in many different areas with that. And long story short, I got really burned out. There's a lot of trauma, lots of trauma there. Not that I don't still deal with trauma on a daily basis working with the homeless, but there's just something about children's trauma is just different. But really, the main thing that got me into the field all around in general was empowerment. I want to empower those around me. I want to help people who don't feel like they have a voice to find a voice. I feel like there are times in my life where I was living in someone else's world under someone else's rules, playing their game. and not feeling like I had much power. And when I found my voice and my empowerment, I found myself and I found happiness. And I just
Oh.
want that other people to find that as well. Because life's not perfect and life is constant ups and downs. But if you know who you are and you have a foundation and you feel empowered, it doesn't matter what life throws at you. You know, you're going to make it through the storm.
Mm.
And so I started off working with kids, but then I followed some advice that Mike Rowe gave, which is I didn't don't follow your passion, follow opportunity, and take your passion with you.
Ooh.
And so as I followed opportunity, and it ended up guy taking me to Vallejo and working with adults. And then from there, I ended up finding a good knack with that, and ended up being pretty good at it. And then they recruited me to come over to the homeless team. And I'm thinking, man, helping people find housing, that sounds like hard work. That sounds overwhelming. I don't know about all that, but they recruited me and wanted me, and it's nice to be wanted. So I went for it. I ended up being really good at it. So and I ended up enjoying it. Ended up finding a real deep passion for working with the homeless and those without voices, and helping them find their voice. And it's not enough just to hand someone some keys and be like, "Congratulations, you have a home now." It's to hand them keys and not just a home, but a life.
Mm.
To have a deeper purpose, to have um, something to do with that home, to turn
Wow.
it into a home. That right there is empowerment, and that's what really, my wife knows when I've had one of those days because I come home just chipper and in the best mood.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I really appreciate you talking about using this employment opportunity that you found yourself in as an opportunity to, give people a voice, as an opportunity to allow them to kind of like find themselves and come home to themselves. And it's really interesting because it almost sounds like, in a way, I'm drawing real big. I'm connecting dots here that may not, be connecting for you, but it almost sounds like you've kind of found your voice as well. Like you've kind of found your purpose, at least for the time being, in amplifying the voices of others. Does that feel true to
Oh,
you?
absolutely, it's a two-way street. I may
Oh,
be
cool.
helping them find homes, but they're helping me in so many ways, especially in my own mental health journey,
Yeah.
and staying humble and focus on the big picture. You know, our society can get us really stuck chasing the wrong things, and it's important to stay grounded and focused on the big picture in life. And my people, they do such a great job of helping me stay grounded and humble.
You seem very humble. You seem very humble. We love that about you. Um,
I try
so
to be.
you try to be, you're doing a good
Every
job.
every time I start getting away from it, life has a good way of smacking me right back down to
That's right.
humility. So
That's right. That's right. Life has a way of saying, like, check yourself. You're about to
yep.
wreck yourself, bro. That's hilarious. I actually feel the same way. And talk about giving a voice to the voiceless. Obviously our work here at the Street Dog Coalition aims to do that by helping our clients who are unhoused, but also by helping their animals who, in many ways can also be considered voiceless. So in your experience, how do pets impact the lives of people experiencing homelessness, and what unique challenges do these individuals face when they're trying to keep their pets healthy and safe?
Man, that is
A
how much time.
loaded question.
It's so many people are out on the streets for so many different reasons, and society wants to put them all in a box that it's all just mental health and drugs, and that's not the case. They're out there for so many more reasons than that. But the one thing that I have found that they all have in common is trauma of one form or the other. They've gone through some type of trauma, and there is no better medicine than cuddling a fur baby. Not to mention, so many of our people, I always say the only difference between me and the most people that I have worked with is I've made a lot of the same mistakes and poor choices, but I've had amazing family and support system to fall back to and to run to when things get too much, and they don't have that. A lot of times, their family is the reason why they're on the street.
Yeah.
Um, they come from very toxic backgrounds, and that fur baby is the only thing in life that they can actually trust.
Mm.
The only thing in life that actually loves them back and isn't there to use them or manipulate them. Um, and that the fur baby is just as excited to see them as they are to see it. And that's not an experience that they have a lot in their lives. A lot of them feel like outcasts,
Yeah.
um, feel very misunderstood. But that fur baby understands them. Um, Unfortunately, in the beginning, long to my early 20s, I was one of those ignorant people that said, you can't even take care of yourself. You have no business taking care of a dog, right? And of course, it took me working with them and walking a mile in their shoes to see the ignorance of that statement.
Mm.
Um, but I'm also never afraid to admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it can be frustrating seeing the dogs out there next to the panhandlers, but I can assure you those dogs are living good lives. They get to be with their person 24/7 and not wait for them while they're at work or anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
and they do an amazing job of taking care of their fur babies.
Absolutely.
Usually, those dogs are going to eat before they eat, and
Yep.
um, and they go through great lengths to make sure that those needs are met, which is why street dog is so effective because it is allowing them to get those needs met and then giving them the permission to then take care of themselves.
Hmm. Oh, I really appreciate the way that you just stated that, allowing them to get their needs met and then giving them the permission to take care of themselves. And so often, that's what we do at the Street Dog Coalition is we look at the leash as a lifeline. And we try our best to, and I've seen it myself. Matt, I'm outside of Philadelphia, so I've attended our Philadelphia clinics, and I've seen some of our clients, most of them are our regular clients are really excited to be there, really happy. They get the deal. They know they can trust us. They understand what we're all about. And sometimes we get new clients that are a little bit, as they should be, hesitant, a little bit wary. They want to make sure that we're not trying to take their pet away. Oftentimes, different services that have been provided to them have not gone the way they expected, so there's a little bit of mistrust, and it's really quite a beautiful thing to watch some of our newer clients come to our clinics with that air of well-deserved skepticism, but to watch them to watch them see the way we interact with their pet, see how much we love their pet, see how much we love that they even have a pet, see how grateful we are for them to show up, on the day of our clinic to make sure their pet gets everything they need. It really breaks down barriers and it really allows us to have conversations about what the client, the individual might need as well. So I really appreciate you saying that we at the Street Dog Coalition, what you and your team do is we provide we provide care to the pets of our clients, and we really do it as a means to, of course, take care of the pet, but then to also get to know our client better, see what they need, see how we can help them connect with services that we've vetted, that we've trust. And I know at our clinics we've provided everything from spay and neuter vouchers to haircuts to dental checkups. So it is this almost beautiful celebration, these clinics of self-care and pet care as well. So I really appreciate you saying that.
you know, some of our favorite quotes is, recovery happens at the speed of trust, and nothing builds trust faster than taking care of someone's fur baby. You
Yes.
what we do is we instill hope, and hope is what is the difference between someone being chronically homeless and someone getting turned around and back off the streets quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so many that are chronically homeless have tried going through the systems, have tried utilizing resources and stuff, and for whatever one reason or the other, things don't work out. They get shut down and they lose hope, which is why this is one of my favorite shirts.
Hey, that's awesome.
And that's the difference between someone putting forth the effort to get themselves housed and to get themselves back on meds is the hope that it's going to work.
Wow.
And the ones that people want to label as lazy or that they want to live that way, that's not true. They don't. No one wants to live that way. They just don't have hope of
Yeah.
better. I can't. Years and years and years ago when I first started doing this, there's a lot of older gentlemen who have spent a lot of years homeless out on the river, and they all claimed to me that that's what they wanted. That's where they were happy there, and that's what they wanted to live. At this day, at this particular time, not a single one of those people are still homeless
Mm.
because at some point down the line, they found that hope and they got themselves housed.
Wow.
Um, and so it drives me, especially politicians like to use that the most is, well, they choose to live that way.
Oh. Spoken like by someone that is completely out of touch with reality and has completely like romanticized the experience of
I
like
was at a city council and this guy is basically bragging about how he stopped and he talked to this guy because they see him all the time at this spot.
oh my
And
God.
afterwards, I was like, "Oh, it's really cool that you met Robert, man. I'm glad." And he looked at me funny. I'm like, "Robert, who you're talking about?" "Oh, we just call him Cowboy because he has cowboy." But oh yeah, because so you really took the time to get to know him. It sounds like there, huh? Well, I'm like,
Oh,
well, I can assure you that Robert doesn't want to live that way, whether he tells you a stranger that or not, because he's definitely going to open up to you and just tell you everything, right? Uh, I promise you that if you showed him a plan that gave him hope, because I've been that gentleman's case manager at one point in time.
mm,
Uh, he's gone through many programs. He's tried many a times. If you gave him something that instilled hope, he would latch onto it. He would take that in a
yeah.
heart. Uh,
That's such a great point because I think, so often people who are unhoused, especially people who are unhoused for quite some time. And I mean, I'm not basing this on anything. This is just a guess here. But there is a level of pride that people who live on the street need to maintain in order to wake up every day, in order to continue living on the street, in order to protect
we all
themselves.
have a certain level of pride.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
It's just
So
human nature.
of course, of course, of course. So, it is so interesting. Yeah, of course, Robert is not going to be quick to say he wishes his living situation was different because at the moment his living situation is not different. And we all want to protect our ego. We all want to feel like we have some kind of control, even in moments and in chapters of our lives where clearly we don't have a lot of control because of different systems at play, because of, XYZ, losing our job, addiction. And like you mentioned, there are so many different reasons why people find themselves living on the street. It's not just mental health, it's not just addiction. We've had clients in the past, who have ended up unhoused because they have literally had their identity stolen, like their credit card information, social security
Mhm.
information stolen. We've had people and who have ended up on the street because they have been in a really bad car accident, were in a coma for weeks and weeks, and their apartment was they couldn't pay the rent. Obviously, they were in a coma, so they woke up from their coma and had nowhere to go. It is and obviously we're seeing every day on the news, war breaking out in multiple countries for multiple reasons. Those individuals are now homeless. So it's quite staggering to think about all the different reasons why people become unhoused. And I'm sure in your line of work, you've heard every story under the sun. So my last question for you is what strategies have you found most effective, as the director of outreach resources at Breakthrough House? What strategies have you found most effective in connecting individuals who are experiencing homelessness with the necessary resources and support that they need?
First and foremost, consistency.
Mm,
So many of these individuals have had all kinds of white knights that want to show up and proclaim they're going to save them, and then they disappear.
wow.
Um, Consistency is number one. You're dealing with people who have trust issues. Like we said, they all have trauma of one form or the other. And that looks very different from individual, but trauma nonetheless. And so just the consistency, because it's you're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're showing up and you're doing what you say you're going to do. And that's the thing I want, any case managers, any social workers listening, just follow through what you say you're going to do. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the best advice. You don't have to fix things for them. Just follow through what you can do, and that's it. That right there makes a huge difference for people. Even if what you follow through with isn't that much, it just gets them a little further down the line. The simple fact that you claim that you're going to do it and you did it makes a big difference to them.
Mm,
Um, Early in my career, I felt like I had to have all the answers, that I had to know every resource that there was out there. I always had to have a direction to send them. And as time went by, I quickly learned that is not the case. I don't need all that. Best I can do is help create opportunity and allow them to utilize that opportunity for themselves.
mm.
And that's what we try and do with Street Dog is we create opportunity. People get beaten down. It's easy to stay where you're at.
Yeah.
It's even if it's a toxic environment, the known environment is the environment that us human beings tend to gravitate towards, whether that's good or bad.
Mm.
And so we try and utilize Street Dog to help push people's comfort zones a little bit and help them um, move forward and get out of that rut that they tend to get stuck in.
That's
And
amazing. And Matt, that feels so like relatable and humanizing. Like, regardless of the housing status of someone who's listening to this episode, um it's we all find ourselves in that rut. We all find ourselves in a position where it feels like for one reason or another, whether we're having a hard day or whether we're like going through a divorce, it's often in life really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And what I appreciate about what you're saying is, so often the individuals that you serve don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. They might not see a light at the end of the tunnel for quite some time. When they meet you, they might not see a light at the end of the tunnel. But it feels like what you do is you kind of like take them by the hand and you have, this flashlight and you illuminate the steps right in front of them. You illuminate the ground that they're walking on so that they can kind of just instead of dealing with the overwhelm, instead of looking desperately for that light at the end of the tunnel, it sounds like you help them get grounded, get a little bit more present with get a little bit more in touch with the present moment, and just take the next step forward. Maybe it's two steps forward and one step back, and like that's
well,
okay. Does that feel like what it is that you do?
oh yeah, absolutely. And to go further into your original question, we also work very hard to do warm handoffs.
Ooh.
So many times all the resources you need to get off the streets are available. They are available. However, they're on all over town. You don't have transportation. There's all kinds of hoops to jump through to get through each door. There's intake processes and orientations and retelling your painful story to this person and this person and this person. Um, and that's overwhelming and discouraging.
Hmm.
Um, so the more that we can do a warm handoff, or we can call um, an agency together and say, hey, I'm working with this person. This is the gist of what's going on. This is what they need. And we can connect them with a name and a face. They're so much more likely to follow through with that resource.
Wow.
And so we're lucky enough to do our clinics at the Mobile Access Partnership, which is kind of like a one-stop shop that we got going on, where we have physical health, mental health, on all kinds of different resources all in one place together. So I can say, if you want a homeless case manager, there's one right here on the other side of the parking lot. Let me go introduce you to him. And then I introduce them to them, and I participate in that conversation. So they have me there who they feel comfortable with. So they're more likely to open up to that person quicker. Because like I said before, recovery happens at the speed of trust.
Yeah.
And so one of the best things that Street Dog does is it gets people ready to work with case managers. It gets
Hmm.
people ready to take action steps. And that's all we want from them is them showing action steps
Mm.
towards moving towards their goals.
Yeah. That feels like digestible. It feels like, and that's something that we offer our clients as well at each of our clinics, right? Where, we try to focus on some of the smaller, immediate issues at hand, and then use that as an opportunity to talk about, uh, you know, other preventative treatment that their animal might need, other, services and treatments that the client might need. So, yeah, I appreciate how much we align with our philosophies. And before I let you go, Matt, I just want to ask you, I've included the link to Breakthrough House in the show notes of this episode. So I want to encourage all of our amazing supporters to please click the link, check out Breakthrough House, see all the different ways that you can get involved. And Matt, I would like to know from you personally, if someone is looking to support Breakthrough House, looking to, help their fellow unhoused neighbors in Topeka, how can they do that? What do you guys need right now at Breakthrough House?
Well, we are trying really hard to get more affordable housing built.
Okay.
We have a few different paths for us to take that we're trying to strategize of which one to go down. But we want to get more affordable housing built. We feel like this is absolutely key in lifting up our population, because unfortunately, with SSI being a fixed income, the majority of places that they have access to are with slumlords, or less desirable housing, and there's not much dignity in that. And so we want to build something where they can be proud of, that they can have a community in and support each other within,
Mm,
and and still be able to afford the rent.
yeah.
And so that's one of my big projects that I'm working on right now. And so I guess obviously they can go to Breakthrough House and donate for that if they want, but also just keeping an eye out for when we start doing our fundraising for it, and support us with that.
That's fantastic. I
And
love that.
the biggest part is,
Yeah.
please, no NIMBY. If I find a great location and I need to build, I don't need the neighbors telling me, not my backyard. That's one of the biggest barriers that we run into. Like, people want to listen to these podcasts and be like, yeah, yeah, that's great, rah, rah, rah. And then we try to build housing next to them. They're like, oh, hold up now.
That's a little too close. I'm gonna need that
Hmm.
that problem, quote unquote, to be over there.
Yeah,
I'll throw money at it, but I don't want to open up my
well, it's
door.
somewhere else.
Wild. Oh God, we gotta get you back on the pod to have that 10-hour conversation because
Well,
that just
well, I'll tell you what, the next podcast, we're going to talk about Clubhouse, and how
yes.
building that relationship and that trust really elevates people's expectations of not just themselves but the people around them, and how I have seen someone with very severe mental illness in one setting act like a toddler, and in a clubhouse setting act like an adult, and really
Wow.
handle adversity night and day, just
Oh
night and
my
day,
God.
the way they handle adversity because of the expectations are raised and there's more expected of them. So I am excited to get into that with you the next time we talk.
We got our next episode queued up. You heard it first, folks. Matt, you are so amazing. I'll call you out on this now because we're at the end of our episode. I know you were not feeling well today, and look at that. You did it.
I
Matt,
did it.
Matt,
I didn't think I would.
I didn't think you would
I
either.
didn't think I was going to make it.
Oh, and you did, and you kept the energy high, and like you didn't sneeze, you didn't cough, and I hope that this episode was as energizing to you as it was to me, as I know it's going to be to our listeners and our supporters. We have so many incredible volunteers in Topeka. We have so many amazing donors in Topeka. I know that this episode is going to resonate big time with those folks, and it's also going to resonate with people who might not be familiar with Breakthrough House and who might want to find a way to deepen their involvement with your organization. So, Matt, thank you so much for plowing through the illness. It
It,
means so it means
it,
so
it
much to
makes it
me.
easy when you're passionate about the subject. It just
Same.
gets me jazzed.
There
Because
you
right before
go.
we started, I was like, I don't know. But talking about it just excites me because I love seeing the results.
Yay. Yay. That,
I love seeing people find their voice.
Oh, and you've found it today against literally all odds. You have found it today. So I am sending you a big healing hug through the webcam over here. And big thanks to you, Matt. I would tell you to go rest, but I know that you are at work right now. So I guess get back to work, question mark. Changing lives and making the world a better place. So seriously, Matt, thank you so much for all you do with the Street Dog Coalition. Thank you so much for all that you do in Topeka, and a big thanks to our supporters as well for tuning in. As always, it's great to have you. So until next time, Matt,
Until next time, looking forward to it.
take care. Feel better.
Thank you.